Welcome back to Obadiah's Secrets Revealed. Today we have a different guest reader with us, and we are seated in a different porch, eager to learn some more secrets about Obadiah and the young man. So without further ado, our guest reader begins.
Chapter 5. The old man indicated that he accepted his apology with a smile, a nod, and a manly grunt. A thought of how to go about the task of revealing the truth without self-incrimination continued to stir within him. He had made several amateur blunders up to this point, but clarity was coming with every mistake. Thoughts began to order themselves as they gently alighted in his mind. The frame of an idea emerged. Maybe this was the question he should have asked first. It was now too late to do otherwise. Hopefully, God would blind the understanding of this young man as he did so many others, and shield him from anything that may expose his secrets.
As I said before, whenever I encountered difficulties writing a particular section, I would simply indicate so. You see, a lot of Obadiah's struggles to navigate how to deal with the young man were actually my struggles, because the book was not written in chronological order. The first few chapters of part 1 were written, and then a large portion of part 3 was written, and then I came back to part 1, and then I shift to part 2, and then I actually had to go back and fill in some things in part 1 to tie everything together.
Some men take pleasure in being served, while others take pleasure in serving others. However, for some mysterious reason, some men can only find fulfillment in serving God, or at least something perceived as divine. This young man was such a person, and he was now beginning to rejoice that he found someone else who shared his passion. He also miraculously found someone willing to interact with him and have a conversation about his father. The probability of both happening on the same day and with the same person was very unlikely. This had to be providence, he thought, and it was.
I drew from my personal experience for this paragraph. Ever since I could remember myself, there was this hunger, there was this desire to serve God. And I think that many people have that hunger, have that desire. But when you're young, you don't know which is the right God to serve. So you can be easily led down one of several different paths. But at some point in time, that desire gets lost. Maybe because it was not nurtured by somebody with more experience. Maybe because other things just overshadow it. But I believe that desire, that curiosity about God is in every individual that has ever lived. If you could identify with this, please let me know in the comments. It may encourage someone else who may have had that desire extinguished, but that desire can be reignited once again.
There had been a few uncomfortable moments before, but the strong words used by the older man earned the younger's respect, the type of respect that resides above age and titles. He now saw Governor Obadiah, his grandmother's cousin, as an ab, a father. This stopped him from further questioning the old man's loyalty. Obadiah was safe from suspicion again, at least for now.
That word Ab in Hebrew means father, and I was thinking along a completely different line. I was thinking about King Ahab. His name literally means brother, father, or father's brother. And I was thinking that as king, Ahab was supposed to represent God, but he was not doing that, and it was Obadiah who was actually filling those shoes.
Amid this growing sense of progression toward his new goal, the younger man was still ignorant of something. It is most predominant in the young hearts of both men and women, but not exclusively reserved for this group. Sadly, too many elders go to their graves without a clear understanding of this simple fact. A pure desire to serve God does not mean you find the right God to serve. Quite often, many people who go about looking for the God find a God and are sadly unable to tell the difference between the two.
The difference between the God and a God is something that is very dear to my heart, and it comes from personal experience. When I was younger, I actually thought that I found the God, but what I actually found was a God, which was the God of my parents. Now, I know the idea of religion, especially in family circles, could be very delicate, but I try to share some of the things that has helped me on my journey in seeking God.
The young man was well on his way along this particular path before meeting Obadiah. Coincidences, signs, feelings, all mixed with selectively disseminated knowledge and earthly wisdom, euphorically presented to him a compelling argument that he was on the right path. This argument is so enthralling that even those who eventually find the true path to him acknowledge that without the added factor of divine intervention, there was absolutely no way possible for them to come to that knowledge.
I wanted to reinforce again why I believe the young man would eventually do what he did. He was too emotionally involved. And God deals with us in our emotions, but God also deals with us with our mind, with our intellect, with simple logic at times. And there needs to be a balance when we approach God. And I see too many people, when they approach God from an emotional standpoint. And that can be very, very, very dangerous. Because as Obadiah said earlier, our emotions can be easily swayed.
The period of non-verbal communication between the two continued for a brief while longer. The subtle building of intensity dissipated. This allowed both men to retreat to a neutral posture without losing face. But only one of them now knew what would happen next.
I experience what many writers talk about when they say that the characters write themselves. And many times I would walk away thinking, what would Obadiah do? What would Obadiah say? How would he act or react? What would the young man do or say? Sometimes it may take minutes, sometimes days, but eventually I will come back with something that I believe would be a reasonable response.
Obadiah studied the young man, not just his face, but his entire being. At his age, he used decades of knowledge, conversations, observations, successes, and failures to make calculated judgments about people he encountered and be correct. His life depended on it regularly. In this instance, it was done in the time he took to smile, nod, take a breath, and let out an approving grunt. His formal assessment of the youth was now complete, yet he waited. He waited even more as the silence continued. This time, it was not uncomfortable as before, but energized by a sense of purpose.
While reading the first draft of the book, my wife would often complain to me that I was a bit long-winded and I should get to the point quicker. But for anyone who knows me, they will know that I can be long-winded. That is who I am. And I would often speak about a whole bunch of things related to a particular topic before actually getting to that topic. But I'm trying to be a quick learner, so I'm going to cut this video here now, and I will continue next time. So don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications, and I will see you in the next video as I share more of Obadiah's secrets.